Hello again, everybody. Zach Attack is here with the Atakline for this Wednesday, July 30th, 2014. Haven't made an Atakline in a few days. I've been very busy with things. My Go You In Pop class show was this past Monday. They're trying to make an Atakline on Monday. And I had gigs over the weekend as well this past weekend. So let's get on with those gigs review. I had a gig this past Thursday and Friday. This past Thursday was the last outdoor movie night of the year for when we were Parks and Rec. It was at Bruce Township. It was when we Washington Bruce Parks and Rec after all. We did a movie night in Romeo, movie night in Washington, time for movie night in Bruce, which was this past Thursday, with people bringing their picnic baskets for the movie Yogi Bear was screening. And it was better than we did Bruce Township last year. It was more people at this year's Bruce Township than it was last year at Bruce Township. And better than Washington Townships this year as well. The attendance was better. So it was a great crowd to end the movie night and a good weather night as well for that. This past Thursday, this past Friday was a splash bash at the pool. Haven't done a splash bash in a few months. It's the last one it made with not a lot of attendance. Best one in a while for the splash bash. Really good attendance. Better than the last one. It was really packed. It was slow to build. You know, it was like 20 people at 7:30. But once 7:30 started, when the show started, that's when people started arriving. And that's what happened. It was a fun night on Friday night. And I got another splash bash in September. And I think we're going to keep momentum shifting after a few shitty months at the splash bashes. Attendance is up after this past Friday was being good. Then after those two gigs, I had a concert. Before my class show on Monday, I saw James Taylor at Pine Knob this past Sunday. Despite the rain, it was raining throughout the evening before the show. But then once he got on with the first set and once Carolina and My Mind came on, the first big hit that he did in the first set, that's when the rain stopped for at least an hour until, ironically, it started raining again near towards the end of the second set. He did two sets. He did first because he had no opener. So he ran out for an hour, took a 15-minute break, then came back. And at the end of the second set, it started raining again. Ironically, doing Shower the People. And it meant that literally, it was showering on us with the rain. But it was a fun laid-back evening for Mr. JT. I was supposed to see JT, Justin Timberlake. But I had my class show, so I sold my JT ticket. Justin Timberlake ticket. But I saw one JT, James Taylor, laid-back evening on Sunday. Favorite songs for the show had to be Shower the People. Personal favorite of mine. And I play them at my shows a lot. So the songs I play at my gigs of his, Mexico, How Sweet It Is, and Your Smiling Face work well. And his band is high class. And well mixed. Better than the last DT concert I ran to for sound. Uncle Cracker's sound was atrocious. And James Taylor's sound mix was well mixed. His band was high class musicians. Really good band with James Taylor. I'm stumbling. Sorry. James Taylor's past Sunday, so there you go. Reviews of my gigs and James Taylor. Now, since I haven't done an Atakline since last week, start off with your number one movie. Your new number one movie, but a very impressive $42 million. Or Lucy. Yeah, Lucy, the big movie with Scarlett Johansson debuted at number one this week, beating The Rock and Hercules with a okay but disappointing $30 million. Decent showing, but still probably not the big number they were looking for when it came to Hercules. When you already had a Hercules movie coming out earlier this year, it's tough to put out another one. So there you go. Lucy debuts at number one. See what happens. I know James Brown movie's coming out this week, but I don't think it'll bring much competition. Next week, August 8th, is a big competition with TMNT coming out. Despite that controversial movie post in Australia. Anyway, besides your number one movie, let's get down to number one Billboard-wise. We have a new number one album. Before we get to that new number one album, we have a still number one single. Wooed by Magic, we made the number one for the third week in a row. Well, Sia's Chandelier lands in the top 10. And we have a new number one album. It's 5 Seconds of Summer with the self-titled debut album. Landing at number one this week. May not be number one for long, because I don't know if this guy will kick him off next week. Of course, Tom Petty's Hypnotic Guy, which came out yesterday, will debut next week. And if you want to see it, it's on my channel. I made a review for this album. It's on this channel if you want to watch it. My review of this great rock album by Tom Petty. could get 5 Seconds of Summer on One for the Money next week. But until then, One Direction ripoff or wannabes. 5 Seconds of Summer prove once and for all they are not One Direction after all. Now that they landed number 1 today, they celebrated. You know how they celebrated? They celebrated landing at number 1 with their first album by announcing their U.S. tour for next summer. Yeah, that's right. They're pulling the One Direction route, announcing a tour 1 year in advance. And to prove they're not One Direction, the tour is called Walk Out with Your Socks Out Tour. The tour will actually have some tour dates in November 1st, while the full tour for 2015 will kick off in Las Vegas on July 17th of 2015. And it'll zigzag all across amphitheaters and arenas, including the biggest headlining show in Detroit. They were at the Royal Music Theater for the last tour. And now for their first big arena tour, they're landing at the Palace on August 19th of 2015. They'll hit the big cities. No New York shows, though. No shows in Brooklyn or New York, but they're hitting Boston, Hershey, Pennsylvania, Toronto, Cleveland, and all the big cities. Tickets go on sale for their show, for their tour, on my birthday, August the 9th. They will also be touring Atlanta, which leads to my other tour news today, as Garth Brooks announces his second city. Now, I put my brain to work on this one, and I know Garth's strategy when it comes to announcing his tour dates. He's doing it city by city. He's announcing a different city every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, a new city is announced. This week, he announces Atlanta. And the tickets will go on sale the next week. That's why I think he does it. The first week, he announces the first date of the city, the new city. Sits idly by a week, see how the buzz is. And then the first show goes on sale and he adds a bunch. Last week, he, of course, went on sale in Chicago and had 9 shows at it. He's doing 10 shows in Chicago. Those stints of shows will end September 16th. And the first Atlanta show, the first of probably many, will be September 19th. And those tickets will go on sale August 8th for Garth Brooks in Atlanta at the Phillips Arena. The first of how many? So that's how I think Garth's doing this. He's announcing a different city every 2 weeks. And every city is a 2-week process. The first week, he announces the first date of the new city. And then the next week, the tickets go on sale for that new city. And then that's when he adds the additional shows. That's a strategy used for Chicago. That's a strategy he'll probably use for every other city, including Atlanta, when those tickets go on sale next week. And they're more money. I think it was like $65 for Chicago with the fees. $71 for the cheap seats in Atlanta with the fees. So there you go. Garth Brooks adds a new city, while 5 Seconds of Summer celebrates their #1 album by landing a U.S. tour for next year. I think Garth, it looks like he may not be touring Detroit to next year. Speaking of people may not be touring to next year. That's what I think. Garth's going to do it. This is going to be a 3-year tour. He's going to tour all over the world. So I bet you Detroit won't be included until probably 2015. That's too bad. Anyway, on with 2 artists we never thought we'd be together. A real collaboration. I know Garth Brooks did a Kiss tribute album 20 years ago, but that's not as weird as this combination. Lady Gaga and Tony Bennett. It sounds weird to many, but if you're like me, you know it's not weird because they all started a few years ago. I'm a disc jockey and I bought a DVD of Tony Bennett's Duets 2 album, the Grammy-winning Duets 2 album videos. Great duets on there. I think the duet that really stood out was Lady Gaga's duet with Tony on the classic The Lady Is a Tramp. This professional relationship led towards a personal friendship. And there was rumors for years about Tony and Gaga doing a jazz album together. They've been secretly working on it for the last few years, and now it finally was revealed yesterday on Today that Tony and Gaga will be releasing this long-awaited collaboration album, Cheek to Cheek, on September the 23rd. They premiered a video yesterday for the first single, Anything Goes. Apparently, GaGa doesn't want any originals. She wants to do what she did with Tony, duets on standards from the Great American Songbook. That they both handpicked each songs. According to a statement, they picked each song personally, pulling from the Great American Songbook, with classics from songwriters like Duke Ellington, Irving Berlin, George Iowa, Gershwin, Cole Porter, and Billy Strayhorn. They are accompanied by Tony's longtime quartet, the NYC Jazz Quintet, led by Brian Newman, that GaGa has performed with since her teenage years, and are joined by a big band and full orchestra on some songs. They recently taped a PPS special that will accompany the album, which will be airing this fall. And that's what happened with Tony's duet special too. It was on PPS, then landed on DVD. That could be the same for GaGa and Bennett's special coming out this fall on PPS stations. It could be on a DVD later on. So I saw the Anything Goes video, and it's a great recording, great version. I love playing Ladies that Tramp at my shelves. I like getting people's reactions to say, wow, that's Lady Gaga singing Tony Bennett. She can actually sing. So that's why I'm looking forward to hearing more from these two. Looking forward to hearing this album, Cheek to Cheek, coming out September 23rd. Looking forward to hearing more from it. If Anything Goes is any indication, this should be a really good album from Bennett and GaGa. And that is it for the Atakline for today. Thank y'all very much for watching. That and mine. You've been attacked by the news from Zach. See you all later. Yeah.